Okay. Like part 75 of this mother effing episode. We were in a moment and then our dogs went ape shit. Well, my dog went ape shit and bit my child. And so we had a problem. And now we have more people in the room and it's beautiful and it's all good. Okay. So what's funny is there's no segue back into what we were talking about because it was very emotional. But let's talk about masculine and feminine energy. So you had your situation like as a young person, fending for herself, has to do everything on her own, all of those things. Talk about like now that you know me really, and we've had all these conversations about masculine and feminine energy, what looking at your life and looking at the way that you're always really always in control and doing all the things that you need to get done, do you see that how it's not sustainable? Like when we were, because I was the same way when I was a kid, it was like go go go, but as an adult, like a lot of that I think Amelia was about 9 when I started to realize, like I was talking to her like a drill sergeant, like she was in my company. It was very like, get this done, get shit done, da 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 da. And that's when I was like, yo, I'm not effective as a parent when I'm talking to her this way. And then I started to think about, I can't be the only businesswoman that thinks in this way. But talk a bit about like now that you're kind of surrounded around this topic, do you see how you end up here where you're more tired than maybe you want to be? You're, all the things about giving up control. And there's the dog again, but everybody knows my dog on this show. He's on it all the time. But anyway, talk a bit about that. Can't get it back, people. She's out. Talk about how you're really a man and you really just want to be a lady. There, in the most simplest terms.
I think it's you that pulled it out of me. As everyone knows, Karen McCarran knows how to get those waterworks going. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
It's hard though. It's
I'm
hard
exhausted.
keep it together all the time. Can't even say keep it together.
To be honest, I think my past relationship failed just because I'm tired.
Yeah.
A lot of it was because of that. And because I was just go, 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 go. And I forgot to take the time to put energy into my relationship. So
With yourself too.
well,
Like, I think
yeah,
that's the biggest relationship that we don't focus on.
I have 100%. And this is why I said going into this new year that was going to be one of my major goals is to actually put time into myself. And again, we spoke about cutting the umbilical cord to my business because it's hard for me to let go of that. And I think that will give me all my freedom, much more freedom.
Yeah.
To be able to do that and to be able to relinquish some control.
So what does that look like when you say for 2023? When you, because here's what's real. That's like thing I say all the time. It's like when a woman who's in her masculine is in a business, we really do have a hard time becoming the owner and not the operator. So, you've heard me talk about really just it doesn't start with like a lot of times we'll say, well, I don't have the money to hire, or I don't know what the right people are to hire, or I don't know, or I don't have, and we give it like all these different excuses. Yeah, excuses on why we can't do the thing. So when you talk about this coming up year for you, what's changing in your mindset where you're like, no, I've had enough because I need to, like Debbie and I, we do like a Tuesday thing, or we have been, where we work on our businesses together. And that's new for you.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what's changed for you in the last couple of months where you're finally like, and I've said this about other people that I know, like you have to hit rock bottom really before you make any changes in any area of your life, whether it's your health, relationships, your business, parenting, whatever. But to kind of maybe share with everybody what shifted in you, like what's making you feel like so certain that this year is going to be different than the other 5 years.
I think the major thing for me is just I became complacent, stagnant, just stuck where COVID wasn't a huge help for it either, but I can't blame COVID for everything as much as I want to. But I think just being in the same spot and feeling okay, I can pay for the roof over my head, my kids are fed, but I want so much more than that. And I want to evolve. And I think just actually realizing that I'm not evolving and I'm just staying in the same place. And it kind of, it's a trigger because it made me feel back. It made me feel like back when I was in the job,
Yeah.
right? That, oh my God, like I'm not getting anywhere. Like I'm seeing money come in, but I'm not feeling like I'm doing anything. Like I don't have, uh, like I'm not, I'm still seeing the money come in, but it's not anything more
Right.
than what it's been. So I just feel like I'm in the same place as I was even working at a regular job. And then that kind of has scared me a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, here I am again. I feel robotic. Like, and I just want to keep growing and evolving. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, that a light bulb went on.
Yeah.
Aside from you.
No, but
Because
you're still
but
doing it.
you've also pushed me. Like I've learned from you, and just the things we've talked about and stuff like that. So um I mean, I am a little biased, but I think just by our conversations and just things that I've had to get out of my head, and more like getting it done, and like we've talked about it, like I've cock blocked myself for so
Yeah, we
long.
all do that.
Right.
Constant. Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And
Right.
it's a fear of the unknown too. And it's a fear of letting go of your business and relinquishing control, because, oh my God, is somebody else going to fuck it up? And then I lose my business.
Yeah.
And then here I am going back to the office job that I hate so much. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like a vicious cycle. And I think I've really come to a point where I've realized, like, you gotta just bite the bullet and go down that scary path and just face your fears and what you need to get done. So, yeah.
And I think, like when it comes to, so thank you for that. Like, thank you for the honesty around that, because I think a lot of times we shy away from saying what's really going on. And it's like, oh, again, just with like, you start to stockpile all these excuses for why the business isn't doing what you want it to. And really it's the psychology of the leader. And ladies, hear me well, like you can say till the cows come home, I cannot do this. And the more you say, I cannot do this, the more your fucking subconscious will hear it and will give you exactly what you're demanding of it. So I think like it's from a friend perspective, watching your evolution from um like chasing your tail
Yeah. Yeah.
to now you coming into this woman who is like, I've actually had enough of this bullshit and I'm actually going to make, like this, her business is easily franchisable. It's for sure, multiple locations. Like it doesn't have to be a franchise, but there could be like other offices across Canada, whatever. But it's like, and that's the thing, as soon as we make that decision, then there needs to be action. And I think so many times we make decisions and we say we're going to do things. And then again, like you said, we cock block ourselves, and it's not, and I don't get it twisted. Like I'm not, I never say like, oh, you're a bad person, you should blah, blah, blah. But it's my favorite thing to talk about is to be curious. Like, if you don't have the business that you fucking want, be curious about why that is. It has nothing to do with market share. It has nothing to do with your competition. It has jack shit to do with recessions. None of that. Like I'm going into real estate, and many people have said to me already out of the gate, out of the jump, why real estate? We're in a recession. I don't give a shit. What a perfect time for me to learn the ropes of real estate. So giving yourself these bullshit excuses for why you can't do this, it's eventually you're going to have to get honest and look in the mirror and say, you know what? I actually can fucking do this. I'm not here to just sit around and make no money. Like nobody gets into business. Write this one down. Nobody gets into business to be broke. Nobody gets into business to be fucking miserable. Anybody who starts a business is doing it because A, they know they can do better. They want to make more money. They want to have time freedom. So stop lying to yourself about why you started this business and get real about it. You've got a whole calendar year now to crush it. So anytime you start to think, oh, I don't want to, fuck that, do it. So there's my rant for the day. One of the things that I find the most interesting about Debbie is she's in like, talk about one of the most coachable people that I know. And like, that's a big deal because many people say they're coachable, and like, I love being coached. Like, I like the other day when we had our conversation in the car, I was like, inner child me was a little bit like, like my feelings were hurt, but coach me was like, this is amazing, because to me, that's the sign of true love, like really, truly. And I think people are not coachable. Most business owners are not coachable. You are incredibly coachable. And I think that's why 2023 is going to be for sure your most financially best year. Like, so talk a little bit about, because I know you've never, and we don't, just to be clear, we're friends first. Like, that's the top of the thing, but I do coach her on certain things around business. But maybe talk a little bit about why, like, why do you find that type of coaching or coaching in general impactful? Like, and did you before, had you ever spoken with a coach before that? Is this sort of a new thing for you? Like, talk a little bit about what you think about the act of being coached and coaching back.
I've never really been coached before, but I do have some, there's something in my, I'm so sorry. I do have some people or some big influences in my life that they have their own business and they're doing very well. And I have sat on the phone and met with them and spoken with them, but it wasn't a coaching per se. It was just them trying to give me um, some feedback or some suggestions and just trying to kind of guide me. And I mean, that's great, but I wasn't in the mind frame to hear it because I was also going through some stuff and aside from my business and stuff, but I wasn't in the mind frame. So I think when you came along, I think like just, and again, we're friends, but like we'd sat and had personal conversations and then just started to, I think I opened my mind to it more. Like maybe I felt that I wasn't coachable or, and maybe I felt that I wasn't receptive and I just wasn't going to take, like I listened to you, but I was just like, okay, am I really going to do what she says or whatever? But now I feel like I'm at a point, not only in my business, but in my life that I need that extra push or the extra motivation or leveling up.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
because
Oh,
as
it
we
sucks.
know, when you're leveling up, it's uncomfortable, right? It's a transition and no one wants to do it. But I think that's my biggest thing, that I'm actually absorbing it and taking it in and realizing I'm being accountable for myself for lots of things, right? And I think that is kind of opening my mind too. Like, holy shit, Debs, like you just been fine. Like, last a couple summers ago, I was down in the backyard tanning when I could have been, I don't know, building my business, but that happened then, and here we are. So I mean, like, and I think in the back of my mind, oh, I have a business. I could take the week off and tan in the backyard, but no, you can't. Like, so I hold myself accountable for that. Like I was just lollygagging and just whatever. And then blaming all the other circumstances around what was going on instead of looking in the mirror and being like, no, you're the one that hasn't really done anything about it. Like you're just fine being complacent and I don't want to be complacent. Right. So I was pointing my fingers at everything else and not being open-minded. And I guess I've had enough.
Yeah. Well, and I love that, because that, like, here's the thing about what she just said, is that is radical fucking honesty. And that requires a different person to be able to say that on a podcast that other people are going to hear, where we take the responsibility. Because is it easier to blame COVID? Is it like, of course, is it easier to blame the people of all that shit?
Mhm.
But when we start to, when you have radical honesty like that and you say like, holy shit, this is actually on me. Cause there's a lot of times where I'm like, hold on, everybody. Can you get the dog quiet? We'll edit that out. There's a lot of times, even when I was like, when I transitioned out of the content company and there was a certain amount of money left, and I thought I was all the whole company. Well, the company's still running without me. There's no fucking, didn't burn down. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Like the did I bring value? Of course I brought value, but was it all me? Fuck no, right? But I'm busy. I'm busy in the ego. We're busy in the ego of other. It's that person. It's this. It's that. And so big, like, I just want to give you a huge, like, huge props for that, because that, ladies, when you have radical honesty with yourself, if you're a businesswoman, even if you're in a career, it is literally never, ever, ever anybody else's fault. Ever. It is always, there's always something that you can look inwards and say, if nothing else, what did I learn? What lesson did I just learn here? And then that can propel you to another. But anytime we blame everybody else, like, what happens? You give control up to everyone. And so, like, here we are thinking we have all this control. We're trying to hold on for dear life. And we're blaming the outside for shit that's not going wrong, whether it's, again, health, relationship, business, whatever. That's the ultimate giving away of control when I say it's not my responsibility or I have no control over fixing it. So I think it's beautiful and brave and fucking amazing that you're able to just, with total confidence, be like, nope,
Yeah.
that was on me.
Yeah.
Because it's not until then. And so when we do that, that's when things shift.
Right.
And it's not an epiphany type moment usually,
No.
right? Like, it's, and jump in anytime, but like, it's those little micro moments where you all of a sudden are like, I would have made a different decision a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. And today I'm not going out, or today, like, there's times you and I have, like, on the weekend, our girlfriends were playing euchre, which I'm, by the way, obsessed with. But her and I on Saturday night, she was working with her team. I was at home doing my project, like doing work for my client. Like, those are micro moments that a
That was
year
huge.
ago,
That was huge for
neither
me.
one of us would
Yeah.
have done it.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about just those changes that you make. And how
Yeah.
you feel
It's
about
about it's about prioritizing too. Like I feel like again, I just felt like, oh, my business is running. It's good. I have my clients and like I'm good with my clients. And but in order again to evolve or to get to grow, you can't just have your clients that you've had. Like you got to make changes. And I think again that right, like right there, a year ago I wouldn't have left my girlfriend's house to have a meeting with one of my one of my staff or to sit down and we and to be honest that we had a great meeting. It lasted 2.5 hours and we were just like getting shit done and planning out our goals for the for not even for 2023 for the month of January.
Right.
Like we were on it for the month of January because we said we're going to do it step by step. We don't have to plan out the whole 12 months. We need to go month by month and we need to figure out what we're going to do here, what we're going to, and then go on to the next month. And so we're not setting the bar too high. Well, I'm not trying to set the bar too high. As much as I want to grow, I think if I tried to do it too quickly, it's just going to be a combustion of like, yeah. So it's just like, so again, yeah, I think because I'm now and this is what bothers me. I was going to say something, but this is what bothers me is the fact that when I first started this business, I was like, yeah, attack mode. Like, I'm going to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. And this happens with everything. Once you're in it, you become comfortable. You're keeping your head above water, or like even in a relationship, you become comfortable and you don't have to go on dates anymore or like just anything, right? So I became comfortable.
Right.
And I was good with just what I was with, like what I had. And now I'm like, again, I'm seeing the light and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you're gonna be 60 and still scrubbing toilets, like at this point, right? And my bones don't work like that anymore.
Right.
So I think by just prioritizing my business, it's been a huge like, and that's what I said to myself before the new year hit. Like I need, as much as I prioritize my kids, and I need to prioritize my business. Also, I have to prioritize myself. And in order to prioritize myself, I have to get the business good so that I can have the free time,
Yep.
right? For myself.
100%.
So it's like a chain reaction. And I've realized this because, as you know, like last year I was just so incredibly busy. I didn't have no time for myself and I was burning it out on both ends. And that will just affect my children, that will affect my health, that will affect everything around me. And it's not happening this year.
Good.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's like 25, knows she cannot work for other people? She's struggling to accept that she's an entrepreneur. What would you say to somebody younger who's looking to start something?
Don't, just go for it. Don't be afraid. And yeah, just do what is in your heart. Like at the end of the day, like if you know that you're not office material or desk material, or if you just are out, like you just need to be out there and you know it because you feel it. And sometimes there's probably lots of people that are at their desk like, I should not be, like, I need to be out there, but are scared to make the move. Like you said, it's a huge move. But I mean, I'm not telling everybody to quit their jobs. You got to support your family or support yourself. But the same token, if there's something that you feel that you want to do, the worst that can happen is you fail at it. But I mean, it's an experience and it's a learning lesson. And then if you fail at that, maybe you could try something else. And that was my biggest fear too. Like, I'm like, shit, like what happens if I don't like get any clients or whatever? But if you don't get any clients, you're in the same place as you were before you started. So you're really not, it's not a lose-lose situation here. Like you're trying something new.
I would say,
So
but did you die? No.
but did you die?
I
No.
said, like, you went on live, was it, but did
Did
you
you die?
die? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't that hard.
Yeah. I think that my biggest, I think in a lot of people is the feeling of failure,
Yeah, the fear of failure.
the fear of
Or the
failure.
fear of success.
That too.
Because then you don't
And
know
I
what
think
that
that's
looks like.
right. I think that's a part of my equation there too, is
Yeah.
just,
Like, who am I if I'm not struggling?
yeah. Or who am I if I'm not, working 14 hours a day and coming home and dealing with my kids at the end of the work shift? Like, and I know people do that on a regular day-to-day basis. It's very sad. It's very like, that's just crazy, but I don't want to do that. And that's what I'm striving to not do. But yeah, for someone who's 25 and 20, I wish I did this at 25 years old. Like I wish I had that in my head. I definitely had that in my head, but to actually go through with it, no, I was too scared. And I felt like the norm, was to work in an office and get benefits and you're, when you're done your 50 years of working, you get your pension and then you die. Like but because I was raised like that, right? Yeah. My dad was very hardworking. My mom was very hardworking. Like, and they were at their careers. And it's really, and when I think about that, it's just sort of, that's the robotic stuff for me that it did not sit well with me even when I was younger. So yeah, if you're 25, I would say just dream big and then go for it. And you don't have to set your goals through the roof, like just little goals and hit them. That was my problem.
Amazing. So what's next for you? What's next for Picture Perfect Cleaning? Even, I know you're not systematically going through the month, but what does 2023 look like for you? And you look emotional when you're thinking about it, by the way. So good.
We'll come back in a year and I'll be like, yes, I'm going to Bora Bora next week.
Yeah.
2023, I told you this too. Like, I just feel like it's just my year of something. And I just feel like I'm cutting the umbilical cord. That's a huge thing. And I'm letting go, which is hopefully I'm spreading my wings. Thanks. Thanks, Kara.
Sorry. But there's always tears on this.
I know. I'm spreading my wings and which meaning like I'm gonna be hiring more staff and just relinquishing my control and just giving it to God that everything's gonna everything's going to be good without me being there on a
Mhm.
regular basis. And then just giving me my freedom, more freedom to be with my kids, my friends, my family, to enjoy life, travel. And yeah, I feel like, you know, I've worked very hard. I'm only 45, but I've been working since I was 14 years old and not a day less. And I feel like, and I know people have been working till they're like 60. But I don't want to do that because I want to retire young and I want to enjoy my older years with when my children get older, let's go away on vacation. Like I want to do things different than the way that I had it when I was a kid. Well, I didn't really get to do that with my mom, but I mean with my dad and stuff like that. So yeah.
So where can people find you? They want to, so we're in Ajax. Well, you tell them where you're at and where they can find you.
I'm located in Ajax. However, I service out of all of GTA, everywhere actually. But I have a Instagram page, Picture Perfect Cleaning Services. I have a Facebook page, Picture Perfect Cleaning Services in the sixth. I don't even remember. See, and that is very bad. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I need to get my shit together when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, my two pages, and we're building a website right now, thanks to Kara McCarran over here. And just word of mouth. Ask about me.
People know her.
Ask about Picture
She's
Perfect
kind of a
Cleaning
big deal.
Services.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to that really bizarre, choppy podcast. Kids, dogs, life, right? It happens. But I want you to go away with, just remember, like, anytime you want to start something, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to go the way you think it's going to go. But the worst, and when Debbie was talking about complacency, like the biggest thing, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's true for every organism on planet Earth, and mostly true for your business. If your business is not growing, it's dying. If we don't have a compelling future, and Tony talks about this all the time, right? Like, if you don't have a compelling future, that's why people get depressed. That's why people get, stagnation in their lives. If there's nothing compelling ahead, there's nothing to be excited about ahead, you just give up and you do nothing. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is like, you have a compelling business future right now, which will bleed into all these other things. And that's what will push people forward. So if you want some type of homework to come out of this podcast with, sit down and think about, what am I going to do? Whether it's in your business, whether it's in your career, whether it's your relationship, whatever that is, think about, what does the next 12 months look like? It doesn't have to be super detailed, but just have some idea, something that can get you excited about the next thing that you need to do. And of course, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review on Spotify or Apple or Google Play. I always appreciate it. I love you guys, and thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.